Welcome back to Orange County's Real Estate Hot 30. I am Lena Fayyad.
And I'm Holly McDonald.
And in today's segment, we're really going to talk about the shifting market, what we're seeing and what we have seen in February so far. As far as the interest rates we mentioned to you guys have been low, they lured in the buyers, but what have we seen as far as homes on the market, selling fast, not selling fast? And we're also going to talk about why certain homes aren't selling fast. So, Holly, welcome to February. What can we share with our buyers about this shifting market? Not so per se negative, but I would say leveling out. Would you agree?
Absolutely. There's a lot of change going on in the market, and it's not just on the market as a whole, it's in different sections of the market. Some areas, some certain locations are selling like hotcakes. Properties are flying off the market. Other areas, properties are taking a little bit longer to sell. Some are not selling, and we'll explore that a little bit deeper later. Some price points are really selling so quickly that if you don't get out there to see a property before the weekend, you might not even make it to the open house because it'll already be gone. So we're seeing lots of different little intricacies, and so you really need to be aware of the pulse of the market and whether a property is going to be hot or not. And I would say some of the tips for that, there's a tool, I don't know exactly how helpful it is, but I do think it's a good indicator, is if you go on the Redfin site, you will see if a home is classified as a hot home. And hot homes are ones that Redfin uses their little algorithm. They can look at how many home views the house is getting, and they can determine by the interest level whether or not they think that house will sell quickly for the market. It's actually really useful. I've used it on a lot of my properties to get a good feel for, was it priced effectively? What sort of interest are we getting from the audience? Mm-hmm. Should we wait through the weekend, or should we be responding to offers right away? As a buyer, it's really helpful. If you see a house as a hot home, you probably want to get out there to see it faster than later, because otherwise you might miss your chance completely.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, Holly and myself are both partner agents with Redfin. So that's why we really like that site and utilize it to its full potential when we do see or do want to put a listing, on the market. Holly, I've seen some homes that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like, for example, a seller loves their home, wants to put it on the market, gets all these multiple offers, but then decides to pull it out because they think their home is worth more. Now, does that show the seller what the fair market value is really? Not that their home is not worth that much, but interest rates are good, but prices, I think sellers are still hoping for that full price,
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So sometimes it's a catch-22 when you put a house on the market and it gets a lot of interest or a lot of offers right away. Sometimes sellers will look at that and say, hey, I think maybe my house was priced too low. I can understand how a seller would think that, of course. They might think, oh, I should have listed it for $25,000 more or whatever, whatever that number might be. But the fact is that the market does speak. And so, yes, if you are getting a lot of activity, that is because your house is priced well and it's in a good location or it's in a good condition that's appealing to buyers. But you're going to get offers that reflect the house. And so if you might have been able to ask more, but in most cases at the end of the day, if you asked more, it probably would have just taken you longer to get back to the price that offers are ending up at. Because if buyers really love the house, they're going to offer more. And buyers are not stupid, agents are not stupid. We all know how to look at comparables. We know how to provide them to our clients. If one house is asking significantly more than any other home is sold for in the neighborhood, there has to be justification. No one's going to love a house that much more money-wise if the house doesn't have a redeeming quality that actually makes it worth more.
Like 30-year-old homes or that need updating.
Yeah.
And these homes are beautiful. I mean, we've seen a community we worked in, without mentioning any names, we've seen 4 homes go on the market, 3 of them sell, and 1 just sit there. And it's like the most beautiful one. However, it's still very outdated. It's very 80s, I would say. Yeah. And, what do sellers have as far as that? Is a price adjustment an option? Of course, but what can we tell sellers or kind of give them a reality check about that?
I mean, the fact is, if your home is on the market and everything else around it is selling, you have to look at price and you have to look at condition. Those are really your two biggest factors that you can control. Price is, of course, reflective of the condition of the house. And then condition, yes, is a little bit subjective. A home could be in quote unquote good condition or upgraded condition. But the fact is that a lot of buyers are responding to a specific style that's out there right now. Modern is very big, or farmhouse chic is really big right now. Like, people appreciate and like those styles, and they might actually pay more for them. But if a home isn't like the buyer's style, even though they appreciate the fact that it has been maintained and updated, if they feel they won't be happy with it and are ultimately going to want to change it, to them the value just isn't there. And if you're getting a whole lot of buyers that are saying the same thing, that is the market speaking to you. You can try to wait and try to find another buyer that has exactly your taste and values it exactly as much. But my only caution there would be, if you wait so long that your house is on the market for an extended period of time, buyers are just naturally going to wonder what's wrong with the house. Why isn't it selling? It must be priced too high. I should offer less. And it's just a psychology that goes into it. So, if a house doesn't have a price change, and that's kind of the feedback that you're getting from the market is literally talking to you.
Absolutely.
Listen if you want to sell.
You heard it. Listen. Because I've also seen, these homes are beautiful and these buyers do want to put an offer, but they also want to update it. So they're keeping in mind that, the chunk of money they have on the side to update it, to put a new kitchen and, make it chic and 2020-ish.
Yeah. Lena, what would you be looking for? You're like a perfect, case to study.
First-time home buyer,
millennial generation. Yes, first-time buyer. Like, what style would you appreciate?
Honestly, if I'm, in the market to buy a home, which I am in the moment, I'm looking for something I'm ready to go in, updated, new sink, new everything. And I've seen so many updates as a realtor that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go and put in the work right now. At least I don't have the energy to. Just personally, as a buyer, I just want to go in and start a family and just have a updated home, if I was an investor though, and we have seen investors out there that have updated a home and, we have seen investors out there that have updated homes and still want to, provide those buyers with top-notch quality, but they're not breaking even. Is that what we're seeing right now?
So that is a really good point. What I'm seeing is that investors ultimately are out there to make money, so they have a bottom line. Their goal is to get in a house as low cost as possible, put in just enough to where they think they can dazzle buyers and eke out every last dollar. So they'll go back on the market at a significantly higher price than they paid, so that they can come out ahead, pay for their costs, pay for their holding fees, make a profit, of course. But they're really stretching. They're always going to go for, the max. They're going to take that last highest sale and they're going to stretch it a little and see just how much do the buyers love this home. And it is working for them, especially in markets where there's low inventory. I know, for example, I've seen a lot of homes in Huntington that the sellers have sold the homes for a really low price because, the homes have maybe been original owner occupied for 40 plus years.
Nice.
Not super updated, probably not updated at all. So, any home is going to take tens of thousands of dollars to update. It's just, the reality. Investors probably can do it for a little bit less than like an actual buyer out there who doesn't have all the connections with the tradespeople and the contractors and everything. But at the end of the day, if you're doing electrical, plumbing, scraping popcorn off ceilings, redoing floorings, windows, doors, etc., possibly roof. Heating, everything, tens of thousands. You just can't avoid it.
So definitely crunch the numbers if you're an investor. I do suggest that. Yes, you're seeing a lot of buyers come in and putting these offers, but definitely crunch the numbers so you're also on the safe side and you're also making money. That's one advice for our investors out there.
I think just to elaborate on that a little bit more too, because it's such an interesting topic. I am working with investors. They all want to get the lowest cost they can, which is, of course, the sellers want to get the most they can. So there's a little bit of a dichotomy there. But I will say that if they're in a popping market, so one of those price points or locations that is very desirable and doesn't have a lot of inventory, they are most likely going to be able to get a return on their investment and a good return. They might set the new record for the neighborhood. I mean, I'm seeing that because there's simply nothing else for the buyers to choose from. And not that buyers are desperate, but I think a lot of buyers are realizing, hey, if I can lock in a low interest rate for 30 plus years, I'm sitting pretty. I might pay top dollar now, but over the life of my loan, I can be paying tens of thousands of dollars less if I buy now at a low interest rate versus waiting till next year, potentially having a higher rate, but maybe saving a little bit on the front end. Mm-hmm. So, I know not everybody's going to be in their house for 30 years, but it is a good way to kind of rationalize if it's going to be a home that you're going to be in for the indefinite future and it's beautiful and turnkey and, you're satisfied with the way that they've made improvements and repairs and you think it'll last for a good long time, it's probably a sound investment, even if you're paying top dollar.
Yeah. I've even seen homes, to go off that tangent, where investors are, I wouldn't say targeting new home buyers, but they understand that, especially millennials, younger home buyers, I would say in their 30s, like myself, found this home, like the open house I did the other day, updated, flipped, new property. The investors know buyers don't want to go in and do the work. And the buyer came in and was like, I love it. I don't need to do anything. Let's put an offer. And that kind of gives them a peace of mind. And I've seen investors go to areas with the low inventory and pick that one house that needs to be updated, put an offer, get it, flip it, and do, like you said, take over a certain community only by that one home.
Yeah, and I think it's important for buyers to realize too that yes, the investor is making their money back on, the cost that they've invested in the house, but they're also kind of getting a premium for their willingness to tackle the project and, the willingness that you do not have to take on that project. So
and go on the market. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Lena said, I mean, it is a risk, and a lot of buyers, not just millennials, but a lot in general, do not want to take on a remodel because they know it's hard work. It takes a long time. It ends up being more expensive than you estimated. You get in there, you find more problems than you were banking on. It takes a certain threshold of being willing to do that type of thing. That's why investors are kind of gambling in that regard. So you are paying a premium, but you're paying them for their work, their services, and their willingness to go in there and deal with all the potential issues you could run into. Mm-hmm. I was just meeting with a client the other day, actually, who I worked with before. I was going to see his house because he had done some improvements to it and it had been a couple of years. And he bought a house that was a fixer and he was excited about taking on the remodel. And he's done a tremendous job. He's done it pretty much all by himself, not even needing contractors because he's just a real do-it-yourself type of guy. But did he run into problems where he needed to call in the big guns? Yes.
He did.
Was he thrilled about it? No. But I mean, that's just a reality of home ownership. And, he might have bought a house that would have cost him, $50,000 more to have it all dialed in, and then he wouldn't have had to do those projects. But at the end of the day, I mean, he saved a lot more doing it on his own because he was capable to do that. But he did run into some headaches that he was not prepared for.
No, absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing. I think I can understand why buyers prefer a home that's turnkey in a lot of circumstances, but it makes sense that if an investor is willing to take on a project property like that, let them do it because obviously nobody likes headaches, but at least they have more experience with dealing with them
Absolutely.
And fixing it and then moving forward. And then the buyer has peace of mind that it's been, addressed. But you still have to go in there and do a home inspection and check it all out.
Nothing like home inspections. They are your saving grace in this, in these kind of things. So.
And that will be a fun podcast topic in the future because we have a lot to say about home inspections too. But hit us up if you have any questions in the meantime.
Yes, absolutely. That's for a different day. So as far as low inventory, I know, we mentioned shifting. So is it shifting? Is the market really shifting to where sellers need to keep an eye out or really start thinking about putting their homes on the market? What can we kind of give a whole, summary about the whole shift? Because we've seen homes in 2019 get off the market. Now they're back on and we're like, whoa, why didn't it sell in 2019? What's going on there?
Well, I can understand why some of those properties that didn't sell last year are coming back on the market. It's just the fact is in a lot of areas, inventory is lower now. So obviously you hope that if you have less to compete with, you might have a better chance of selling. And obviously most of the people looking now are going to be different from the ones that were looking last year. So you've kind of weeded out those people, and they're not going to buy your house, and you've weeded out the competition that was around you. So now you kind of know what sets yourself apart, what price, what ballpark makes sense for you, and you hope that being one of like the biggest fish in a little pond, so to speak, is going to work to your advantage. So that is something that I think is going to be a trend in 2020. I also think that with the fact that house prices are high, they are flattening in a lot of areas. I mean, 2017-ish, around then, prices were escalating at several percent per year. It was really good for homes. You would see the appreciation. I can't say that it has necessarily kept up at that pace, especially over the last year and a half or so. I'd say probably middle of 2018, a lot of cases I saw it was kind of slowing. But again, it's very market specific. It really, certain price points are still going up because there's just not a lot of inventory, and it depends on the condition. So, you've got a desirable house at a competitive price point, you might be able to expect a little bit of a bump each time a house sells, and that is really common in the spring especially. But then in other areas where maybe prices are a bit higher and then the houses sit on the market longer as a consequence, you may see more of a flatter market or possibly prices coming down, at least based upon perception, because you'll see more price reductions. So it'll feel like prices are falling, and in fact they might be, but some of it also might just be that the house was priced too high to begin with. So by, lowering the price, they're just kind of correcting to what the market really is going to hopefully bear for them.
And then hopefully maybe sellers can maybe get a bidding war. I know it's not something that all sellers look for, but it's not a bad thing. If you do a little price adjustment and you've got 4 or 5 offers, hey, like Holly mentioned, the market is speaking to you. So definitely keep that in mind, guys. If you have any questions about the market, what we are expecting in spring, the little bit of shift we're seeing, I would say it's more of a nudge. Yeah. I'm really excited for spring and what's coming. So if you guys have any questions, please like and subscribe our video. We look forward to being back again. Do you have anything else to say?
Just a couple of things. I mean,
please,
they just
go ahead.
keep coming to me.
Yeah, no, please.
As far as what Lena was just saying with regards to making a price adjustment to hopefully instigate a bidding war, that is a good strategy in some instances. However, I would just like to caution sellers that if that's the type of response you're hoping for, if you're going to reduce your price, it's going to have to be significant. Don't expect to do a measly $5,000 price adjustment and all of a sudden get 5 offers. Could it happen? Yeah, there's always a chance. Yeah. But in the reality, you really need to look at the numbers and see, well, what number is certainly going to be more attractive to buyers? What is the feedback we're getting? Again, if you've got a house that the style is not reflective of what buyers are looking for and they're all saying, well, it's nice, but I'd have to remodel it.
They need capital, and then you
gotta adjust for it. I mean, it's not like dollar for dollar exactly. It's not a very specific science, but there is a perception in the market, and you gotta look at what your competition is too, because whatever else is out there is what buyers have as options, and if they are all kind of gravitating toward one other style, and that is the price that the market is set for that style, then have to take that into consideration. I mean,
I think sellers are just so attached to their homes and the memories. And I mean, 30 years original seller, it's kind of, I mean, as a realtor, I have to be very careful in telling them, it's a beautiful home, but it's a bit outdated. So, so you have to kind of tread carefully in that sense. So definitely keep price, modern, chic. If it's, keep all of these factors in mind. Like Holly said, they all play into how the market is shifting in a positive way, actually. So we do have some positive things going into 2020. So I think pretty much it.
I think ultimately we just wanted to share with you, for buyers and sellers alike, that the market, there is a shift. It is going to depend on the price point, the type of property, whether it's a condo, a townhouse, a house, the condition of the property, and the price range. All of those things are going to dictate whether or not that market is one that is going to accelerate, or it's going to sell very quickly, or whatnot. And then on the other side of that as well. So those are really important things to keep in mind. as we've discussed in our previous podcast, the market is starting off a bit stronger this year, earlier on. So the spring is right around the corner. We expect that there will be more inventory as we get to the spring. Right now, it's quite low. In fact, we just pulled the stats for Costa Mesa
That's right.
beforehand.
Yes. Please
And
share.
yeah, in Costa Mesa, from January to January, so 2019 January versus 2020 January, inventory is down by over 30%. So
Oh, wow.
there's a lot less houses on the market. But as a result, more houses are selling. However, on average, the prices are pretty flat. So it's a year later, house values are around the same. But remember, there's also 30% less, properties that we're using to factor all those, numbers. So, statistics are statistics, so take them with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, there's less inventory, and that's definitely a positive, especially when you've got low interest rates, which make buyers want to be out there house shopping.
Absolutely. So you heard it right here, guys. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, comment, and ask those questions below. We will definitely get them answered for you. Thank you for watching Orange County's Real Estate Hot 30. I'm Lena Fayyad.
I'm Holly McDonald, and we'll see you here next week. Bye.